Imagine this. It's the day after Thanksgiving, 2016. The aroma of leftover turkey should be filling a cozy Knoxville home, but instead the air is thick with the stench of blood, chemicals, and decay. Inside, a 28-year-old man has turned his parents' house into a house of horrors, a scene so gruesome that even seasoned detectives would later say it haunted them. Severed limbs dissolving in acid, a head boiling on the stove, and a notebook outlining every chilling detail. This isn't a horror movie, it's the real-life nightmare created by Joel Michael Guy Jr., a son who begged for the death penalty after slaughtering his own parents. But why did he do it? And what happened to his desperate plea for execution? Stick around as we dive deep into Joel Guy Jr.'s twisted life, the Thanksgiving massacre that shocked America, and the courtroom drama that followed. By the end, you'll be left wondering, was life in prison mercy or the ultimate punishment? Life of Joel Guy Jr. Let's start at the beginning, because to understand the monster Joel Guy Jr. became, we need to look at the man he was, or rather the man he never became. Born on March 13, 1988 in Louisiana, Joel Michael Guy Jr. grew up in what seemed like a stable, supportive family. His father, Joel Guy Sr., was a dedicated pipeline engineering designer, and his mother, Lisa Guy, worked as a human resources accounts payable administrator at Jacobs Engineering in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. They weren't wealthy, but they provided everything for their only son together. Joel Jr. had 3 half-sisters from his father's previous marriage: Angela Crane, Michelle Tyler, also known as Michelle Dennison, and Shondice Fink. From an early age, Joel Jr. showed promise academically. He attended Hahnville High School before transferring to the prestigious Louisiana School for Math, Science, and the Arts in Natchitoches, where he graduated in 2006. He was smart, no doubt about it, described by some as having a high IQ. But intelligence doesn't always translate to success, especially when paired with a complete lack of ambition. After high school, Joel Jr. spent 1 semester at George Washington University in D.C., but he quickly dropped out and returned home. He then enrolled at Louisiana State University, LSU, in Baton Rouge, claiming he wanted to become a plastic surgeon. Sounds ambitious, right? But here's the catch. He never finished his degree. For over a decade, he lingered as a perpetual student, taking classes sporadically but never committing to a career path. Joel Jr. had never worked a single day in his life. Not a part-time job flipping burgers, not an internship, nothing. His parents footed every bill: rent for his Baton Rouge apartment, tuition, groceries, gas, even his car, a 2006 Hyundai Sonata. They enabled him completely, perhaps out of love or guilt. Lisa doted on him endlessly, calling him her best son and defending him to anyone who questioned his lifestyle. Joel Sr. stayed more hands-off, but he went along with it. Meanwhile, Joel Jr. isolated himself. He had no friends, no romantic relationships, no social life. Family members described him as distant, an outsider who barely spoke, never smiled, and showed little interest in his half-sisters or their children. He didn't join family group texts, didn't ask about his nieces and nephews. He might not have even known their names. But this free ride couldn't last forever. By 2016, Joel Sr., then 61, had been fired from his engineering job, and Lisa, 55, saw it as a sign to retire after handing in her 2-week notice. They sold their spacious 2-story home in Knoxville's Hardin Valley neighborhood and planned to downsize to a smaller house in Sirgoensville, Tennessee, Joel Sr.'s childhood home. To make ends meet, they had to cut expenses, and that included stopping the financial support for their 28-year-old son. On November 17, 2016, they texted the family, "By Christmas, Joel Jr. had to fend for himself. No more handouts." For most people, this would be a wake-up call. For Joel Jr., it was a death sentence for his parents. What kind of resentment had been building in this quiet, isolated man? Was it years of entitlement boiling over, or something darker, like greed? As we'll see, it was both. But first, let's set the scene for that fateful Thanksgiving. Because what happened next would turn a family holiday into a bloodbath. The crime. 2016 was meant to be special, the last gathering at the Knoxville home before the move. On November 24th, Joel Jr. arrived from Baton Rouge along with his half-sisters and their families. Angela, Michelle, Shandice, and their kids filled the house with laughter, games, and old photo albums. But Joel Jr. acted different.
Normally, he holed up in his old bedroom, avoiding everyone. This time, he was engaged. He talked to relatives, helped carry boxes of his childhood mementos downstairs. Toys, school papers, art projects his mother had saved for decades. He even gave some toys to his nephews and played with the kids, something he'd never done before. Michelle noticed odd things. Her dryer was broken, so she used the machines upstairs, going up and down often. Each time, Joel Jr. followed her closely, like he was watching her, and in the back of his Hyundai, 2 large blue plastic totes, one nested inside the other, lid sealed tight. Nobody thought much of it then, but those totes were part of a sinister plan already in motion. Joel Jr. hadn't just brought luggage, he'd brought murder supplies, knives, chemicals, gloves, trash bags, and more, purchased in the weeks leading up to the holiday. Everyone left around 8 p.m. that night except Joel Jr. He stayed behind.
The next day, Friday, was quiet. Too quiet. Then, on Saturday, November 26th, while Lisa was out grocery shopping at Walmart around noon, Joel Jr. struck. Upstairs in the exercise room, he ambushed his father with a knife. Joel Sr. fought back fiercely. The struggle was brutal. Blood sprayed across walls, blinds, carpet, and the overturned Bowflex machine. Joel Sr. was stabbed at least 42 times, his hands severed at the wrists and left at the top of the stairs. When Lisa returned around 12:15 p.m., she placed her grocery bags, bacon, sausage, ice cream, in the foyer and headed upstairs. Joel Jr. ambushed her in the hallway, stabbing her 31 times with such force that 9 of her ribs were severed in half. But the killing was just the start. Inspired perhaps by shows like Breaking Bad, Joel Jr. planned to dissolve the bodies to erase evidence. He decapitated his mother, carried her head downstairs, placed it in a pot on the stove, and turned the burner on high. It boiled for hours. He dismembered both bodies, arms at the shoulders, legs at the hips, feet at the ankles. He stuffed the torsos and limbs into those blue totes, filled them with acid-based chemicals like muriatic acid, lye, hydrogen peroxide, drain cleaner, and bleach. To speed dissolution, he sliced deep gashes into each part and cranked the thermostat to 90 degrees, thinking the heat would melt fingerprints too. But Joel Jr. made mistakes. During the attack, the bloody knife slipped, slicing his left thumb deeply. Around 3:30 p.m., surveillance caught him at Walmart buying bandages and disinfectants. The next day, November 27th, he drove back to Baton Rouge to get treated at a student clinic. He left the bodies marinating, planning to return and finish the cleanup. Prosecutors later called it a diabolical stew of human remains. But why? The motive was cold and calculated. Money. Lisa had life insurance policies worth $500,000, plus an accidental death and dismemberment plan covering both her and Joel Sr. As beneficiary, Joel Jr. stood to inherit it all if they were dead, or if his father was missing. With both gone, he'd get everything. But his plan was about to unravel spectacularly. Discovery and investigation. By Monday, November 28th, things felt off. Lisa didn't show up for work at Jacobs Engineering, unusual for her. She missed her goodbye luncheon, too. Her boss, Jennifer Whited, called for a welfare check. Knox County officers arrived, but from outside, everything looked normal. No broken windows, just a for sale sign. They knocked, got no answer, and left. But Whited persisted, calling 911 again with urgency. Officers returned that afternoon. Peering through windows, they saw groceries on the floor, ice cream melted, veggies moldy. A strange smell seeped out. Using a garage opener from one of the cars, they entered. The odor hit like a wall. Blood, decay, chemicals. In the kitchen, a pot boiled on the stove. Upstairs, severed hands on the floor. In the bathroom, those totes with dissolving remains. Bleach, acids, and cleaners everywhere. It was a hazmat nightmare. Teams in suits processed the scene for days. Investigators found a spiral-bound notebook in Joel Jr.'s backpack. The book of premeditation. Handwritten notes detailed everything. Douse killing rooms with bleach. Flush chunks down toilet, not garbage disposal. Flood house to destroy evidence. Use mom's phone for delayed texts to fake she's alive. And the motive, $500,000 would be all mine. With him missing dead, I get the whole thing. It was a roadmap to murder. Ragaz led straight to Baton Rouge. On November 29th, FBI and local officers surveilled Joel Jr.'s apartment. As he approached his Hyundai, they arrested him without resistance. In the trunk, a meat grinder, its purpose unknown, but chilling. He never explained it. Trial and begging for execution. Joel Jr.'s trial began in September 2020 in Knox County Criminal Court, presided over by Judge Steve Sword. He pleaded not guilty, but his defense, John Halstead and Jonathan Harwell, presented no evidence, no witnesses. They questioned forensics and suggested his happy demeanor at Thanksgiving didn't fit a killer. But prosecutors Leslie Nasios and Hector Sanchez had it all. The notebook, surveillance footage, chemicals, body parts, blood trails, timeline, motive. Half-sisters testified. Angela said the financial cutoff was discussed openly. Michelle noted his odd behavior that Thanksgiving. His only friend, a phone acquaintance, testified via recorded call from jail, shedding light on his isolation. Joel Jr. declined to testify. Then, the twist. Before trial, Joel Jr. filed a motion begging for the death penalty if convicted. He didn't want life in prison, he'd rather die. But Tennessee law requires prosecutors to seek capital punishment, and they chose not to, perhaps due to cost or the brutality not meeting aggravators. Judge Sword denied the request. Execution was off the table. On October 2, 2020, after 3 hours of deliberation, the jury convicted him on all counts: 2 premeditated first-degree murders, 3 felony murders, 2 abuses of a corpse. Sentencing, victim impact, and final words. Sentencing came November 19, 2020. Automatic life with parole possibility after 51 years per murder, but prosecutors sought consecutive terms. Family delivered heart-wrenching victim impact statements. Lisa's brother, Alvin Madeir Jr. Their mother died of a broken heart post-murders, hospitalized after learning her grandson killed her daughter. Half-sister Chindice Fink. Parents were wonderful, larger than life, loving everyone, including him. Michelle Tyler. This scarred my kids. I'll never forgive. Angela Crane. Dad was my best friend. I'll miss his laugh. Hugs. Robin White, Joel Sr.'s sister. Lisa was, like my sister, the most loving person. Justice prevailed. Junior, no visible reaction. He sat placid, emotionless, even swishing water during Madeir's statement. He made no final words, no apology, no remorse. Since he wasn't executed, there was no last meal or execution chamber statement. His only plea was begging for death pre-trial, perhaps to avoid rotting in prison, but denied. He got life. Judge Sword. 300 years isn't enough. Consecutive life sentences plus 4 years effective life without parole. Appeal filed April 2023 claiming warrantless search denied. He's at Northwest Correctional Complex, Tiptonville, Tennessee forever. Joel Guy Jr.'s story is a chilling reminder. Entitlement can turn deadly. From pampered son to brutal killer, all for money. He begged for execution but got endless cage time. Was justice served? Or should he have gotten death? Comment below, what do you think? If this hooked you, subscribe for more true crime breakdowns. Thanks for watching till the end. You won't believe the next case.